Hi there, Scorpio. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is your beginning September reading. It will roughly span, the 1st to the 15th of the month. Of course, though energy is fluid, it may permeate a little before the 1st, a little after the 15th. Let's get right into it. Scorpio. Now, I was meditating on your energy before I turned on the camera, and I was hearing, when do I call again? When do I make that call again? When do I begin again? Okay, and so you have this very thick stack that just blurted out as I was shuffling your cards here, and you have the Three of Wands upright, overlaying the Five of Wands in reverse. Both in reverse. Three of Wands in reverse, Five of Wands in reverse. Fire, fire. You have then the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, okay? The Four of Swords upright. The Two of Pentacles in reverse. I believe Gemini pulled the Four of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Two of Pentacles. Okay, so overlap with Gemini. You have then the Star, beautiful, upright, right at the base of this stack that mirrors this Three of Wands in reverse. So, okay, there is an ideal, there is a dream, there's a vision I'm getting that has to do with the long-term landscape of how it is that we give of ourselves creatively, how we give of our fire, I'm hearing, our passion, okay, how we turn the lights on in a certain way in our room that we step into right in the darkness alone at night, but also that which we share with others. So there's a focus on what takes me there. Okay, and who am I in the night and in the day? And do these two worlds matter in the grander scheme of who I am and what I create? Now, you have this Three of Swords that popped out. 2 threes for you. Very interesting. And it was almost like a fruit ninja kind of a foray into your reading here, right? It was like very, very drastic, I'm hearing drastic measures, okay? I'm hearing measures of remembrance. So it's almost like the Three of Swords was like, do not forget me. So something, it's like, but it's off in the periphery a little bit, okay? And I'm getting strong that it has to do with the left-hand side of things. So it may be, right, legal contracts. It may be I'm hearing third dimension. It may be having to do with your perception, okay, of how you stand in relation to what you create, okay, but also I'm hearing strongly premonition for you. So there's something about this feeling perhaps of constriction, okay, and hopefully not, always, hopefully not, but this feeling of, I'm hearing standstill and what it is that contributes to that, and you're getting very clear with it, and it's like, it's whatever was not kind of in focus is now starkly apparent to you, and it sticks out like a sore thumb, okay? And so you're like, this is my dream world, and this is my why am I here world, right? Like, why am I showing up from 9 to 5 to do what I feel suffocates my vision, so to speak, and hopefully not, but there's this drasticness, there's this clarity with which you're like, this feeds me and this doesn't, right? This, I'm hearing cuts off the supply, okay? I'm hearing life force, and this doesn't. So, you're getting very, very, very real Sagittarius, and Sagittarius, it's coming through for you. Okay, Temperance in reverse here. That's Sagittarius' card. It's in your hopes and or fears. Okay, so 9th house energies may be, Jupiterian sort of energies may be a focus for you, but there's this soberness, okay, of approach that you're taking in terms of recognizing, especially in terms of perception, especially in terms of I'm hearing legal boundaries, especially in terms of your relationships, your interpersonal relationships. What supports you? What supports this creativity in you? What stimulates, right? The speaking out about what we feel, about what we see that no one else sees. right? That creative vision. What and who compels me to speak my truth of my, I'm hearing visionary. So it's like, I feel that you may, for a number of you, of course, general reading, you hold this sort of vision. Okay, you have perhaps this capacity to see so much beyond the third dimension. And it's this almost this Aquarian sort of energy. It's this Uranus sort of energy, right? That's very eccentric. That's very also otherworldly. That sees beyond, right, the I'm hearing getting a premonition having to do with sort of trend forecasting in some kind of way, perhaps. I'm hearing visionary ideals, optimism. Okay. Which may not abide by the rules that certain societies have established a form for. So it's like, if you're, I have these two propensities within me, but this propensity of my creativity, of my creative juice, of what makes me feel alive, doesn't fit within the structure of this other world, right? That has these very clear delineations of direction, of creative flow. Okay, and I'm hearing, well, both may be creative, but one, you're feeling, this is not the kind of creative path that really allows me to discover myself along it. It's more like the path that just requires of me to channel my energy, okay, into it, but not really that which allows me to, right, spread my wings. It's like, I need to expand upon my creativity. I need to expand beyond and break out of my very own box, okay, of what I want to create, because that's what takes me out of balance. And you're recognizing who and what systems, I'm hearing systems of growth, what systems promote your growth, the growth of your individuality, who feed, okay, who nurture the fertility of your imagination, and what and who perhaps doesn't, right? Who looks at what you want to create, like, well, that doesn't fit. Well, it's not supposed to fit, right? Like, I don't fit, right? We're not supposed to fit because we right? Yes, we're physical beings, but it's an illusion, right? That I'm even standing before you. I'm not standing. I'm in constant motion. And you have to accept that. That everything changes. Everything moves. I am mobile within myself. Who am I? I don't know. And that's got to be okay with you. Because it's okay with me. It's got to be okay for me. Because it means accepting myself, who I am, who I will become in every moment, unto every moment. I'm accepting that I may not know what I create before I create it. And that's the process that you're honoring, you're giving your full attention to. And it's about the clarification of, yet again, what systems, I'm hearing systems of growth, right? It's like you, and what I'm getting for you, okay, strongly, Sagittarius, I'm hearing Gemini, okay, as well. And these three cards pops up for Gemini. It's like this, Sagittarius, Scorpio. Okay, you may be involved with the Gemini and Sagittarius, both very also mutable energies, okay, but it's like this. Okay, and I'm also back to mention that, Sagittarius and Gemini are opposing houses in the zodiac chart. So something about perhaps a shadow and something about perhaps about a light, but some form of duality. Nonetheless, Scorpio, there's, it's like this. It's like, if you're choosing, let's say you have a creative agency, okay, or some sort of entrepreneurial venture that you want to get off the ground, a startup, and you're like, okay, well, I could go with a certain incubator, right? A certain, I can go with a creative agency who can back me, who can provide me with certain resources, I'm hearing finances, who can provide me with a certain path to move along. Now, perhaps you're presented with two options, two paths, okay? And they both, in some kind of way, you feel, well, yes, help you make some sort of measurable progress towards reaching this sort of culmination, this point of ultimate, I'm hearing, success, of creation, of manifestation that you see for yourself. Okay, it's not a question of progress. It's a question of progressing beyond the progress that we expect to make. And one path I'm feeling leaves that door open for you. Okay, to move outside of that room that you begin in. And perhaps this other path, perhaps this other project, perhaps this other alternative is more rigid in terms of how you make this progress. So I feel that it's not a question of progress. It's a matter of wanting to remain open, okay, to the process in and of itself, okay. Now, I'm hearing progress, where I want to go where progress takes me. So there's a desire to flow. There's a desire to flow with things, okay? And so you have here the Ten of Swords in reverse. Sagittarius pulled the Ten of Swords in reverse. Sagittarius pulled Strength. Sagittarius pulled the Seven of Wands, the Three of Cups, the Ace of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, the Six of Swords. Nearly every card here, Sagittarius pulled. Okay, so, but you've also got some other cards here on the table that right, no signs yet have pulled. So we'll get to those, though. They're happening off into your sort of future. So let's focus, though, on the cards in the Celtic cross spread for you, Scorpio. There is this focus on the number 3. Okay, you have 3 threes here. The Three of Wands, the Three of Swords, the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is in your energetic pathway. So your focus is on rebuilding, okay, structure, grounds, to make this motion, this movement forward. Yes, you want progress. You want momentum, okay, but you want that which is also measured. You want to make this entry into whatever this new beginning is, okay, or to the continuation of this beginning that has already begun, perhaps. But there is this prioritization of the creative fuel, and the question of what, right, it's almost like this. I want to go into the room, right, that has the snacks that I can eat. It's like that kind of thing, right? It's like one office feeds us M&Ms. One office feeds us, right, organic produce. Which one is going to feed my creativity? That's going to help me produce more, produce longer, into the long term. That's going to help me, right, reach the finish line. And I'm hearing fast enough. So, and I'm hearing reformation of ideals. You're understanding, you're coming to terms with, you're focusing on exactly what feeds me, and take it as you will, Scorpio, right? In many different ways, in many different dimensions. What feeds me also spiritually, okay? Spiritually. But there's been a process, okay, of perception, the conceptualization of this new beginning. And it's been thinking, so much thinking, almost to a point of like sort of analysis paralysis, to the point where you realize, if I want to get things going, right, and this is happening somewhat in your deep past, recent past, I've got to reform the way that I view how I make this progress. Okay, reformation of ideals. Now, so I'm hearing the power of the punch is held in the perspective of it. How I fly, how I aim, and how I shoot, so to speak, how I give of myself creatively, okay, the power in the pack that I punch, something to do with, right, this sort of, I'm hearing this, I'm also hearing ounce of prevention, okay, I'm hearing that as well for a number of you, is held in how I approach the entire process from A to Z. But it's so much held in the mind, and your focus is on, now that I recognize this, now that this is very, very clear to me, how, right, do I set these grounds in such a way that speak to, right, growth, speak to the fertility as well of the mind, how I, right, the self-talk, what actual physical measures, right, in my environment, okay, may be needed. It's almost like, how should I place my objects in such a way? What objects should I place around me? And maybe like crystal work for a number of you. That enhance, okay, this positivity, this, yet again, this growth. I'm hearing this growth. Okay, I'm hearing of stamina, so into the long term. Now, okay, you have this focus. Okay, I'm hearing recognition of resources for a number of you, but, and right, we've been saying that, but this beckoning of you to accept emotionally, first and foremost, emotionally, how you feel. Okay, through the process of that which is otherwise measured, of that which is otherwise predictable in a certain way, of that which is almost practical. The focus is on, how do I want to feel? What does this new beginning mean for me emotionally? Or what does the continuation of this journey mean for me in a very personal, even I'm hearing independent, okay, and I'm hearing intrapersonal way as well. So it's like, how does this grander process of creativity and creation, of manifestation of my vision, of my goals into the future, I'm hearing that I foresee, how does that take me closer to myself? What does that mean for me in terms of how I accept my sense of vulnerability emotionally? How does moving closer to this vision bring me closer in touch with myself, with my feelings, with how I feel through the process of it? How do I feel as the creator of my world? Okay, so there's this coming to terms with that, and there's this shining the light, and it's almost like where you may have shied away from, right? Laying the focus, the spotlight on what I feel, on what I want, right? Almost like this, right? Lingering right behind the sort of, I'm hearing magic fold behind the. I'm hearing the folder. Okay, behind the. It's like something about in the shadow space where I have stood to the challenge, but not struck my own chord of lightning, so to speak. I'm almost being. It's like I'm being prompted by even my environment. Okay, I'm realizing it's a matter of standing for what I hold within. Okay, and so you come to this point, Nine of Pentacles, beautiful, beautiful. This point, it's like this resilience, okay, this stamina, this recognition of the emotionalism of the pursuit of ideals, of objectives, so to speak, of goals, of vision, really, leads you to more stable grounds. Okay, and so financial abundance, so to speak, financial resources, it seems for a number of you, and of course our general reading, it seems that there is this sort of, it's like over the rainbow, right? It's like that pot of gold over the rainbow. There's some kind of abundance that you, I'm hearing that you stumble upon, okay, by way of the focus and the openness to the process, to flowing, okay, over and through the course of I'm hearing the course that takes you through all of the colors of that rainbow, right? Is the journey, but also your access point to whatever this, yet again, this mission is. Okay, and I'm hearing mission statement. So there's some sort of clarity that comes here about vision, but also in terms of how the vision interacts with the physical third dimension. How, right, there's this recognition, this clearer sort of sight of how do my resources contribute to my vision and vice versa, okay? And there's a greater understanding of what you want to do with that as well. There's perhaps a feeling, okay, you have Temperance here in reverse in your hopes and your fears, okay, and you have the High Priestess upright, right after this Temperance card, who's in your future position, okay, looking over at Temperance, looking over at the Nine of Pentacles. So it's almost like, it's like you receive this, I'm hearing it's like this claim, you receive this sort of, it's like something that you weren't even really expecting. Okay, and I'm getting for a number of you, it's like, I'm going to head down this path and see what I come upon, right, as I move along it. The focus is not the end point, but what you find, what you reach along that path is almost like startling to you. And there's this question of, right, what do I make of this? What do I make of this? But what I'm getting is that you are not questioning that, what you make of this, literally. there's just this feeling of, right, I knew it would come, but I didn't know that it would come in this form. I didn't know that it would come in this measure. I didn't know that it would come, right, so soon. I expected this, right? But it's a matter of time and space. And now I see that it's the time and it's the space for me to hone in and harness what I've known I came here to do with this. Okay, powerful, powerful Scorpio. So, but I almost said Sagittarius again. So Sagittarius may have to do with this. It may have to do with, yet again, matters of the ninth house, matters of Sagittarius, sort of archetype energy. Also Jupiter, right? So long distance travel, I'm hearing foreign education for a number of you. Excuse me, this may be a sort of loan that comes through, a scholarship that comes through. Something to do with the capacitation of this vision, this ideal. And it may have to do with something overseas, abroad, for a number of you, okay? But nonetheless, you are so solid on the next steps to take. But it's almost like, right, it's like this. It's like, let's just say, the feeling I'm getting is like, you hear of this announcement that's made, right? Like, you're the winner of so-and-so, okay? And you're like, you're standing in that crowd, and you're looking up at the stage that announces this to you, okay? It's almost like, bingo, you've won, okay? Sort of feeling. And you're standing there, and I see you standing there so seriously, looking up at the stage. And everyone, there's all this commotion, so many people, it's almost like a convention, and everybody's like looking at you and passing by you, and they're looking at you to see your reaction, sort of, right? But you're like not fazed by the process of winning this, so to speak, of stumbling upon this, of accepting this. You are already thinking, you're already envisioning, you're seeing through what this whole experience, what this whole moment, what this whole process leads you to and through. You're seeing on the other side of it, okay? On the other side of this rainbow that leads from this pot of gold to the next chapter. So it's like this, Scorpio. You're not living for the moment of it. You're not getting swept by it, right? There's this intense focus. You're like, I cannot even get excited about this, okay? Because the question is, what am I going to do with it? Yet again, not really a question, but a focus. What am I going to do with it? And to begin to do that, I've got to begin doing that, right? And so that requires of me to not get caught up in the pandemonium, in the moment, okay, of where this new journey begins. Because I've got to continue to move through it. Okay, so it's like, don't get startled by the limelight sort of feeling, Scorpio, okay? But you have this Four of Wands in your future position, okay? In the future as I'm getting it. And you have the Ten of Pentacles upright, the Mother of Pentacles in reverse, the Father of Wands upright, and the Two of Swords in reverse. There is absolutely some sort of process, okay, that almost feeds into itself. Okay, that's how I'm feeling it. And it requires of you, and I feel that it comes, right, it's inherently part of the process, that there would be a sort of opening of the mind in terms of where you began and where you end. Okay, a beginning and an end being sort of superfluous to the greater process of creation and manifestation. And you understood that, right, as we mentioned in the very beginning of your reading. You're like, I want to keep the door open because I don't know, right, what that pot of gold is going to look like. Yet again, I know that I'm reaching it. Right, that moving through the rainbow and all the colors of it and experiencing all of the process that is due with it, right, brings me to a certain, right, objective. But I'm leaving my focus open to see what I see through the lens. And I understand yet again, it's all a matter of perception, what I perceive through, right, what I peer into. And I understand that will be different for everyone. Yes, I'm getting that as well. But the focus is on your mind's eye vision and perspective. And it's almost like this feeling of like scrying, okay? The focus is so intense with these two characters. Or the High Priestess, the most intuitive card in the deck, and Strength, right? It's just like, I'm hearing it's like emblazoning, like emblazon, something, French, I'm hearing French. So it's like, okay, penetrating, and it's that stare, that Scorpio stare, right? That it seems to be coming through. But you're going from the Three of Wands to the Four of Wands, and it's encasing your spread. So where you left the door open, Scorpio, 4, where you had this premonition that the whole process of creativity would take you, you realize, right? That is what led me to see beyond what I admitted to myself was not all that I saw when I began the process. Okay. And so, right, there is a sort of culmination, there is a sort of, again, process onto a process that you explore, that is sort of brought about, so to speak, and it has to do with material, tangible assets and how we, yet again, our relationship to those assets and how we channel those assets. And so you may find yourself in a position to take the reins with that, okay? And it may have to do with, I'm hearing legality, it may have to do with family, it may have to do with perhaps family finances, okay? And so there is this this question of what am I to do, right? There's this question of what am I to do creatively? How am I to come to terms with what culminates, what has been done, what surfaces, and in such a way that, right, merges yet again this premonition, this focus, this water energy, and this transmutational, very creative, very outspoken, very leadership sort of oriented energy. That which, right, I am to take the reins, the creative lead with this project, okay? But at the same time honoring that I don't even know what I'm creating yet again, right? So as much as I stand for the process, I stand for the sheer knowing that I myself as the creator of it don't exactly know, right, how and what is to be the instigator, okay, of the next thing that I create, the next thing that I create, the next thing that I create, and that is the beauty of the process. So Scorpio, thank you so very much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope it was helpful for you in some kind of way, and I highly recommend you check out your rising, ascendant, or moon sign as well. If you don't know your signs, you can click the link below in the description box that I provide, and that will compute them for you. Just enter in your birth details, and you'll get the computation of your signs. All right. Now, and I also know that some of you have been asking if I do any personal readings and the like, and I do. I have a website, www.alchemyandyou.com. Feel free to check that link out as well. It's in the bio description. So if you're interested in a personal reading, if that's something you want to look more into, you can find the details on the website, Alchemy and You. All right. Nonetheless, Scorpio, have a beautiful, beautiful beginning of September, and I'll be back soon with your mid-month readings, hopefully in about 2 weeks or so. Okay, so stay tuned for them. Thank you so much again for all of your comments, your likes, your subscriptions. Love and light to you all. Thank you for connecting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.